webcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, traders. Can you hear me and see my screen? If you could just type yes in the questions, and we'll get started. Okay, all right. All right, thanks, guys. All right, so let's get started here. Okay, welcome to the Bookmap Platform Details webinar. This is Bruce at Bookmap. A risk disclaimer: trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. So I'm going to kind of go through something a little different today, actually a lot different. We're going to go through some of the very basic core elements in Bookmap here into some detail. Though before I start, though, let's just go through a few of the other resources here. For more information, you can go to bookmap.com, and there's an educational course that once you subscribe to the product, you get access to the educational course. It also gives you access to the advanced order flow webinars. So you can learn in real time in the live markets the same content that's taught in the educational course. And let's just show you where Bookmap is at bookmap.com, some intro videos here, and just scroll down. We're not a data provider. Okay, so you will need to provide data for futures and equities, and these are the ways that you can connect Bookmap. And then just some of the pricing details here. You can subscribe monthly or yearly. You get a 20% discount if it's yearly, and you can see the differences here. Okay, so the digital version, it's free. You only get access to one digital currency. It is real time though, and you get just only basic education and basic support. Okay, the Digital Plus version, you get the full education and full support, and you get access to up to 20 different digital currencies, and you can trade from the Bookmap chart, record and replay the data as well. In the global version, this connects to futures and U.S. equities. That's the difference here. Okay, so it includes everything in Digital Plus as well. So you still get the digital currencies. And then Global Plus, what you get with that is the add-on indicators. Okay, you have the ability to trade for futures and equities right from the Bookmap chart. You get the large lot tracker. So these proprietary indicators we put together to understand what exactly you're looking at in the order flow, and specific players as well. Large players using large lots within the order book, or iceberg detector, where they're not showing large lots, but trying to disguise their position. Okay, and social media at bookmap_pro, all sorts of new updated information there. And our YouTube channel, some intro videos on the front page here, features and components and order flow video snippets that go through order flow phenomena. All right, so let's jump over and look at this this market here, and I'm going to go through in detail what Bookmap is showing you and how you can benefit from this. Okay, so I'm going to spare you guys. I think everyone, well, if you don't know what these elements are here in the Bookmap chart, really only 3 elements, and they're not a derivative of time, price, or of volume. Okay, it's just truly the volume. It's truly the price. Like there's no aggregation of the price or volume. It's every market event is displayed here. Okay, that's the advantage, and that's just the volume and the historical best bid and offer that we're showing here. Now, this colored heat map that you're looking at, okay, what is that? Okay, all it is data taken from the dome. Okay, we paint it into a heat map, and then we project it onto the chart. Okay, so let's zoom in here and I'll show you. Okay, so if we look here in the order book, let's zoom a little bit more here. Okay, here's really high liquidity down here, 518 contracts compared. It's the highest in the book right now, right? Okay, well, it's yellow here. That's what we do. We paint it in this heat map. The scale of the heat map is up here. Orange is the highest liquidity, and then all the way down to black is the lowest liquidity. So now we know where they're auctioning in this process. Okay, there's a lot of orders down here. Okay, and look at, they're starting to bid it up as well. Here at 82.5, starting to show some interest. Okay, even at 83 now, they're starting to show a little more interest. So, and here they come in now. It just got a little brighter in some of these areas here. Okay, they're providing more liquidity there. They want to be buyers at these price levels. This is bullish. Okay, at the moment, this is bullish. All right, so we want to understand, though, the context, and this is where we're going to go into detail here. So please ask questions, and I'm happy to answer these for you. Okay, so what does this mean here? Okay, so higher liquidity was down here, and look at how price was coming down. Okay, into area here where they're actually, this is a very short-term high liquidity. Okay, and it could be some sort of spoofing type of event, or something, you know, that might be some sort of disruptive algorithmic practice. In the end, what we're finding out, though, from this is, well, if you have someone that's, think of this as an auction, okay, because the market truly is an auction. Okay, so look at them here when they come in and they're providing very high liquidity. They want to be buyers. Okay, all of a sudden, someone decided they want to be a buyer here. Okay, let's zoom into this area. So what happened? Okay, well, they got what they wanted. Right? They provided this high liquidity, and here's the result. The market said, or the seller said, okay, well, if you're going to be a buyer down here, I want to take that liquidity, and I'm going to be a seller. So they cross the spread, and these red dots that you see here, these are sell orders. Okay, so they took on these guys here that were providing this high liquidity. Okay, and we can see in a volume column here. Okay, this is the chart range volume profile. Okay, so everything within this viewable range. And here's the result, 559 contracts traded. Okay, what was the liquidity over here? It was about 600. Okay, I know that because it's in the bottom left-hand corner, or you can use this data tip tool and hover over this area. Okay, and there you go, 600 contracts and 559 of them traded. Okay, you can see that it's trading right into it, and it's taking away this liquidity. Okay, and maybe they're pulling a little bit, and that's why it doesn't match the 603 here. Anyway, so we know, we gain information here, the context of this market. Sellers are interested. Okay, we know that now. Right, now they came in here again. Right, so you know, this very high liquidity here. It's 800 contracts this time, 818, and they traded. Here they are. You know, it's trading right into them. So we know that there are sellers that are interested. Okay. Now, in terms of buyers, this is kind of a one-off. You know, to me, this looks more like a test. They're kind of testing the amount of who knows what it is, but we're gaining insight from this liquidity here. Okay, we know that there are sellers who are interested in taking on price at this level. Okay, so what happens though? We kind of go sideways here for a bit. Okay, and then sellers start to come back in. Okay, right in this area here. Okay, but they don't take it much further than this here. Okay, and now as we go forward, well, we can see that buyers are actually starting to become more interested in this market. Okay, in this auction. Okay, think of that auction metaphor. And there's buyers down here, but now they're starting to bid up. They're showing interest. Okay, they want to be buyers here, and we can see their behavior. Okay, so now as price comes down into some of these areas, that's when we really want to understand what their behavior is. Did they pull, or did they add in, or did they pull to lower levels, or are they jumping and front running higher liquidity that's on the bid? In this case, they've been front running here. Now this guy traded too. Okay, you can see the transaction that took place, but a lot of it pulled before it got there. Right? So we're starting to understand and the intent of these traders at these areas here. Okay, so now this area never got tested down here. Okay, we never got enough sellers to come down and test it. But we're gaining pretty good insight here, right? So you know, based on what we see here, well, you know, I'm looking for this to go to the upside. Okay, now we're just looking at here, and we're just covering the heat map. Okay, the auction part. We're not looking at the actual sales or the transactions yet. Okay, that's a whole nother ball game. Right? So we're going to put the two together. In fact, let me take the volume dots off for right now. Okay, I'm just going to turn them off. And we're just going to look at price. Okay, historical best bid and offer. Well, here's our answer. I mean, we can start to understand. Like, they're showing interest here. Okay, and we know that they showed interest because actually these transacted. We know that. Well, we know that there were sellers. Okay, but we also know that the sellers did not take these guys on here in these areas. Okay, let's see. So William, let's get to your question. A line that can be a current price. A line can be below current price. Can be sellers, not buyers. No. It's if they're below price, they are buyers. Right. There may be sell stops down below here. Okay, but we can't see that in the book. Okay, there may be hidden orders. You know, we don't see those in the book either. Okay, what we see in the book is truly what is the liquidity, where traders are lining up with limit orders. Okay, all right. Well, that's important to understand. So if it's below price, these are buyers. If it's above price, they're sellers. Okay, so just look at your dome. Okay, you know, here looking at our current order book. Okay, here's current price at the moment. Well, you know, in this example, and above here, these are traders here, or they're contracts, and these contracts here, it's liquidity. This is what makes the market, you know, go. They want to sell at these specific price levels. Down here, they want to be buyers. Okay, it's the auction process, and now we're gauging. Okay, so let's take a look at this as we scroll through. So in your dome, you know, what you'd be looking at is the depth of market here. Okay, and putting together. Let's zoom a little bit vertically. Putting together what's going on here, like who's providing liquidity and where. And this is rather tedious to understand. Okay, all these numbers and how quickly they change. How much was there before? You know, what was their intent? Instead, we're making it really, really simple for you because we change it into a graphical representation, and then it's projected onto the chart. Okay, so now what that allows us to do is we go forward here. Okay, we start to see these numbers get bigger down here. Well, this is showing that interest, right? And we've just really visualized it here very clearly for you, though. Okay, and we can see what's going on. All right, so now we know that down here, the context of this auction is they're interested. Okay, they're starting to bid up in these areas here. Now it looks like we have another little kind of test or a possible spoof, but we'll see if they transacted here or not in just a minute. But just with price and the liquidity heat map, okay, we're gaining a lot of insight here. Okay, so you know, and understanding that well, this is where, you know, they even want to bid up here at 85. Okay, so we can start to piece together the auction, right? So just think of it like you're at that auction, and down in this area, what's going on truly is well, they're jumping into the auction and bidding up. Like no, I'll be a buyer. I'll be a buyer at not down here at you know, 81.5. No, I'll be a buyer up here at 83. Okay, I'll be a buyer up here at 84. Okay? I'll be a buyer up here at 85. Okay, so they're kind of chasing price in essence. Okay, this is like pit noise in essence as well. Okay, think of that pit back in the day when they're shouting back and forth to each other. Okay, well, this is showing that your pit noise would be increasing at this area here because they're starting to bid. Okay, and a little bit of a bidding war is going on in this area. Okay, so you know, we can start to piece this together. Now, where are we looking for this to go? Well, it's looking for high liquidity as well on the offer. Okay, and where are they? They're up here at 90. Okay, I mean, we see little areas as well here. You know, 88, for example, but the majority of it is up here at the top of the range. Okay, so now we're identifying where this has the potential to go, and understanding the auction here on the sell side. Okay, so let's see if looks like we come up here and well, we trade into them. Okay, and it looks like we've continued on up. Real nice rally here to the upside. So let me continue on though, and because this is only part of the picture here, and you can also start to extrapolate even more context out of this here, because not only am I just very simply trying to go over this auction here, I'm trying and the what's on the bid and where it can go to trade on the offer up here, okay, because that's where the liquidity is. We can also start to look at structure now as well. Okay, well, why would it come up here? Why would people provide high liquidity up here? Okay, well, that's because this is the top of this range, right? So you know, the sellers are saying basically to us here, you know, if it comes back up to the top of the range, I think I'll be a seller and I'm looking for it to go back into the range. Okay, this is a bargain for a seller. That's what they're telling us here, or that's what they think, right? That you know, statistically, price kind of stays within this area here at the top of the range. I can be a seller at a discount and try to get it back into the range. Okay, now they have a bullish outlook on things. Okay, well, maybe they don't understand really the kind of clamoring here on the bid side, right? So now we're understanding the liquidity heat map or auction on the bid and on the offer within structure. Okay, and we're getting a lot of insight here of what's going on, and we haven't even turned on the volume yet. Okay, so if you guys get a little confused with some of the data and information here in Bookmap, you might want to turn off one of the layers, okay, and start to understand it. This is a great view. In fact, this is how I started to learn using Bookmap and understanding liquidity by not being distracted by volume, because volume we're so accustomed to looking at all sorts of volume studies. Okay, we gravitate toward that. We already know about it, but we haven't seen this view before. Most of us haven't. Not accustomed to understanding liquidity and not understanding the dome. And that's why, in fact, a lot of traders will, I've heard it so many times, they just say, well, I don't really look at the dome because it's all fake liquidity anyway. And that's just not true. It's not true, because larger players or many players will stay in the book because they want that price. And they're not going to give up their position in the queue. You know, that's the price that they want, and they're going to stay there. We can make a determination, though, or distinction between those that are real and those that are not. Okay. Well, this liquidity, although short term, it stayed in the book here. Okay. Now these poor guys down here, they didn't even get filled, so they started to chase, as you can see. It never made it up here. In fact, you could even say that these traders here, well, maybe they knew something. You know, maybe they thought, well, we're going to front run this and we're going to get our position on regardless. We want in. Okay, and they absorbed a lot of that selling pressure. If they didn't absorb this pressure here, well, then maybe it would have come down here. into some of these areas. Okay. Now, I mean, this is just common sense, just understanding the auction here, okay, and putting it together. And we have the insight here because it was right in front of us. Okay. So now I need to turn on the volume DOS to be able to show that. So let's do that. Okay. And there we go. Okay. And now we know this is real liquidity. Although it was very short term, and usually that short term liquidity has, it's not nefarious, but it is usually to skew the auction. Okay. To maybe do something that is to kind of move price around some way, or maybe they just want to test the market, or maybe they just want to maybe they truly do want to get filled. In this case, they did. They wanted to get filled, and they did get filled. Okay. In fact, it looks like if we go across here, it's the same guy again here who is still providing high liquidity here, but he's already got. If it is the same player, you can also see that he's pulling this time as well. Okay, he's getting filled on some of it, partial of it, but not all of it. So anyway, the volume now. Let's cover the volume. Okay, and let's take off the heat map and just make this simple. Oh, I can go up here. Sorry. All right. Okay, now we're just going to cover volume. Okay, and as price is coming down here, well, look at the appetite here. Okay, this is real nice trend here. I mean, this is exactly what we look for in a trending market. Okay, look at the volume here, the aggressive sell orders here, market sell orders, which are the big red dots here. Okay, where are they taking place? At lower lows. Big clusters of them too. Okay, and let's just bring down the dot size just a little bit. Okay, and then what about on the buy side? Okay, well, we're making lower lows with a lot of volume. Okay, and sell volume. On the retest back up here on these lower highs, look at the volume. Okay, look at the buyers. There's very little here, 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 and here. Okay, this is just really how order flow works in a trend. Okay, and you get that price discovery to the downside. Okay, it's not that people are waiting. There's not a lot of contracts that trade up here. Sometimes, I mean, people are looking for that pullback, but a lot of times they won't get it. There's just because of the lack of volume up here. And we rotate back down into this area because that's where the market can trade. Okay, why can it trade here? Because there's a lot of trading activity down here. We know that, right? So the sellers, they'll take it down into these areas here, and they're still interested in selling. Okay, so we get price discovery here to the downside. Okay, and that's really kind of how the order flow starts to emerge in this little trend to the downside. Okay, but what happened down here, right? Well, that's where we see those transactions that took place. Right here and right here. Okay, now a lot of that selling, and they took them on. There's no question about it. Okay, but these guys basically absorbed most of that selling pressure at that time. Okay, it went through like a tick or so, but you can see that it came back up, and it stopped this trend pretty much cold in its tracks. Okay, and we go sideways here. Now we get one more kind of breach to the downside here. But we come back in, and then look what happens here. Look at the volume here. Okay, this is a buyer stepping in. Okay, and we have something different now. Okay, we're seeing a change in this order flow. Okay, a real nice change. Based on the move, I haven't really looked at the market here, but based on what we're looking at here, we're looking for a pretty good move to the upside. Okay, it came up into this area we know already, but I haven't really, I don't know the extent here, but this is all looking good. We're piecing this all together. We're piecing this context all together, okay, of what that auction is like. Now we're getting into the aggressor. So let's take the heat map off again, okay, and let's just focus on the aggressor, okay, the market buy and sell volume, okay. So here now we see a shift in this order flow. Okay, there's buyers who step in and they breach this top here. Okay, now we come back down into the range. Okay, but they come in yet again here. Right. Okay, and we're starting to see a shift. Look at this one here. Okay, now this is really where the trend has reversed. Right, because look at how they're lifting the offer with large buy orders. Okay, and now we've broken the structure as well, and look at these little retests in here, and look at the selling in these areas. Okay, there's very little, right? I mean, the sellers could have taken it here if they had the power. They didn't though. Instead, we rotated out, and look, we pulled the market away quickly. Where the buyers. Okay, now this is reading the tape here. Okay, and the appetite for the buyers. And look at these very, very quick moves with good buying power in them. Okay, we're looking for higher highs now. Okay, so let me get to your question here, William. So how can you use the Bookmap in real time? Okay, well, it's the same thing. We're just putting together the context of all of this. All right, so let's go to the real market, and we'll do that in the next webinar as well. And I think you registered for that one, correct? Yeah, you are. Okay, so we can cover that in the next market or the next webinar. But it's, I need to I need to go over this in hindsight here because we're going to take all of this and we're going to anticipate future price movement based on this education, okay, based on this understanding, right? That's why I'm going over it now, okay, in hindsight like this, of course. So anyway, now we can start to look at some structure here as well, like we were earlier. This is where we kind of broke from. We get a little retest here and here, looking for it to come back up and test into that higher volume up in this area here. Buyers still engaged. Okay, looking good here. All right, and here we go. And really, it really picks up here. Now this is a really nice strong auction, right in this area. So if you now in terms of trade management, so let's cover a little bit of that, how you get in and out of some of these things when you start to understand the context of what we're looking at here. Okay, so let's turn our heat map back on and look at the whole picture. Right. Okay, so we knew that a 90, that was our target. Okay, target reached. Okay, and it extended through. Okay, and look at this flip. Okay, look at this flip right here. Okay, they were on the offer with high liquidity. At the same price level, they flipped to the bid. They want to be buyers now. Right, look at them bid it up here as well at this 87 area. Okay, so we're starting to understand now. There's a new auction, a new context. Okay, we're still looking for that target here, but where are they on the bid? The majority of them are down here at 87. What's their behavior here? Well, they pulled. You can see them pulling here. Okay, and then they add back in. So did they really have the intent to trade here? And the answer is not really. And they did provide some liquidity here, as you can see. But it looks like well, it went from, let's see, high area of liquidity was around 518 contracts. Low area is about 400. Okay, so over 100 contracts were pulled in these areas here. Okay, so yeah, so they're kind of nervous buyers here. It looks like. Okay, and but the same up here now. It looks like they're they flip on the other side here. Okay, and then now as price is going away, now they're even more interested in just staying in the book, and they pull here. They probably pulled and added to higher areas. Anyway, the putting this all together, looking at the range, okay, looking at the bid and the offer in the auction, okay, and then understanding the aggressor. Okay, and the aggressor has clearly taken control up here. Okay, there's just no question about it. Look at the big green dots up here. you know, and it's a very, very strong move. Looking for higher highs and higher highs. Where's this going? Well, look at the big target right here in front of us, right here in front of us. And this has been here for a long time, okay? And it's also the big figure, okay, 2,600, okay? That's the target, you know, and it's like a magnet to it. That longer term liquidity it acts like a magnet for price, okay? And yeah, so we haven't even gotten to, now we're at the current market, okay? Well, job done, 2,600 traded and then some, okay? Now, I need to go to the next webinar here, but now what's their behavior up here, okay? Did they pull or did they stay? Well, out of the 633 contracts here, 829 traded, okay? So more traded in this area here. I mean, you know, there's more that was added over time, but the 808, well, if we look at it here, so yeah, 781, and what was the liquidity here? At this point, it was 615. So, well, you can see it almost all of it traded. Okay, it all traded. Okay, so these guys are starting to now become sellers at these areas here. Okay, and we're starting to understand that. That's real liquidity. Okay, now let's zoom back out and let's just take a look at this. Okay, so we know that up in, God, where was I? Was it this area? Okay, they pulled here a little bit. No, it was 2,600 the figure, and here. So now they're sellers, and these are larger players. Well, look at the reaction. Okay, and look at the target here is now 95. Okay, so just we're putting these pieces very, very simply, putting them together. Right, and starting to see. Look at the sellers down here. We're starting to see some selling here, right? At these kind of lower areas here, and look at the buying here. Okay, well, maybe we'll get another shift and another move down now. Okay, it looks like 95 is a nice little target for the moment. Okay, anyway, I'll end it there. I'm late to the next webinar. I'll see you guys over there. Okay, bye-bye.